This episode of Tour the World is brought to you by Evergreen Tours, a world of discovery, and Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage. Well, hello there and welcome to Tour the World. Real people, real travel experiences. Now, we get to join Aussie tour groups travelling to some pretty amazing destinations, and this week, I have to say, is no exception. We are on the road with Evergreen Tours all the way from New York to New Orleans in the mighty US of A. This is part one of an extraordinary journey called Complete Eastern USA. The Big Five for this week explore one of the world's cultural capitals, New York City. Tasty tucker abounds in the USA, including local specialties like the Philly cheesesteak. We get to know the founding fathers at Mount Vernon and Colonial Williamsburg. The holiday's definitely over for your credit card in New York's Fifth Avenue. And relax on an overnight stay in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of Shenandoah National Park. This incredible 21-day tour gets underway in New York City before heading south to the capital, Washington, D.C. and Colonial Williamsburg. We journey on to the deep south, including gorgeous Charleston and Savannah, Atlanta, and on to the home of country music, Nashville. No stay in Memphis would be complete without a visit to Graceland. And our tour ends in fabulous New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz. Welcome to the USA, an amazing travel destination that's like no other. Having always wanted to drive through the eastern states, for me this trip is a dream come true, and it's one I'll always remember. Packed with music and culture, along with an extraordinary history that shaped the world as we know it. Time to check in with our tour guide Peggy to find out what she loves most about this remarkable tour.
My favorite part of New York is walking down Fifth Avenue from Central Park all the way up to Rockefeller Center. I think it's just, to me, it epitomizes the way New York has always been, with the elegant apartments, condominiums, the doorman standing outside, the dog walkers. I think it's just a real experience.
And it's like stepping onto a movie set.
It is.
For a lot of us.
If you've seen some of the old movies on TV, even the black and white ones, I think I'm looking forward to you seeing New Orleans the most. It's the most European American city that we have. It's right on the banks of the Mississippi River. You can not spend one penny and sit in the French Quarter on a bench for a whole day and be totally entertained.
Wow, I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be great.
All right, well, let's get underway.
All right.
As always, we like to kick things off by covering a few of the basics, starting with the accommodation. Evergreen Tours offers a deluxe style of touring. From start to finish, all our hotels are fabulous. Supremely comfortable and centrally located. The service at every hotel is superb. Nothing is too much trouble, and porterage is included, so your bags are taken up to your room at check-in and brought down again in the morning. A daily breakfast is included, as are several dinners like this cocktail party and buffet with General Ulysses Grant and his charming wife at the Wyndham Hotel in Gettysburg. Transport is by luxury air-conditioned coach, driven by Coach Captain Jerry. We're covering a lot of ground on this trip, but the coach is comfortable and makes short work of some of the longer drives involved. The roads are excellent and there are plenty of stops along the way to stretch your legs. We have a full house on this trip, all Aussies, and they're an amazing bunch, friendly and relaxed. Towards the end of the tour, I catch up with some of the group to find out what they thought and why they chose to travel to the USA.
We've enjoyed the camaraderie and mixing with the other Australians on this tour. some of the other bus tours that we've done in Europe, we were the only Australians, so it was a different experience to travel with other Australians, and enjoyed the rivalry around the state of origin with New South Wales and Queensland.
It's been fascinating to talk to different Americans. We like to actually get out there, learn, look and have fun.
We start this big trip in the Big Apple, New York City. Perhaps the greatest city on earth. This is such an exciting place to visit. The energy is extraordinary. Our hotel is right in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. It's the perfect location. New York is home to 8.5 million people living in 5 boroughs, including Manhattan, which is where you'll spend most of your time. The city is dotted with green parks and squares, which help soften this concrete jungle. They say you can always tell a tourist in New York they're the ones standing in the street looking up. Well, everywhere you go, there is something awesome to see, and I've found a way to be a total tourist, where I can sit and look up for as long as I want.
Now, this is awesome. One of the best ways to get to know a new city is a hop-on, hop-off bus. And Grey Line New York will pretty much take you to any of the attractions you want to see here in New York City. And the best thing is you can get off and get on as many times as you like. So if you get hungry, hop off, grab a pretzel, hop back on. Perfect.
A hop-on, hop-off bus ticket with Grey Line New York is an included activity on our tour, and there are 3 daily loops to enjoy. And the feedback from our group on New York?
We thought New York would be extremely busy. Manhattan fairly expensive. We were wrong there, it was very expensive. But Manhattan, terrific, loved it. If I had the money, both of us would love to live in New York. We haven't got the money.
It's such an exciting city.
It is an exciting city. There was plenty to do. So the expectations there were pretty right.
There you are. Now, the New York arts and cultural scene is amazing. There are over 80 museums and galleries to choose from, so there literally is something for everyone. Now, your time in New York is limited. You want to make the most of it? I'm off to the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, as it's known, where there are enough Picassos, Pollocks, Monets, and Warhols to keep me oohing and ahhing for hours.
Even for those that are not really interested in art, a visit to MoMA in New York is an absolute must. This is one of the world's premier art collections, over 150,000 pieces, with just a fraction of that number on display. The popular pop art works of Andy Warhol will be familiar to just about everyone. And what better way to finish our visit to New York than with dinner and a Broadway show?
Are you thinking of hiring a car at either end of your tour? Well, here are some tips from the experts at Sunwild Holidays. Daniel?
Adam, always book a reputable brand, so if there's any issues, they can be easily fixed. Walk around the car and check that there's any damage and take photos if there is. The tank should be full, and if you're going to drive long distances, don't forget to get unlimited kilometres.
Okay, now what about your excess?
Your travel insurance may cover your excess, otherwise you can reduce it for a fee.
Now, that is a very handy checklist, and I know that tonight you have another amazing offer for Tour of the World viewers, so tell us about it.
We're offering a $500 Sunwild Holidays voucher for selected tours and 30% off fully comprehensive travel insurance.
Fabulous. $500 off selected tours. Now, for more details, go online or call the number on your screen right now, because I know that Daniel and the team are standing by to take your call.
We're waiting for your calls right now.
Fantastic. So let your experience start right here. Sunwild Holidays, your tour specialists.
Now some amazing special offers on Aussie day tours from Tour of the World and Do It Tour. Great fun at last minute rates. In far north Queensland, save 10 to 20% on an awesome outer reef cruise, snorkel, scuba dive and scenic flight package with Down Under Cruise and Dive in Cairns. Explore the fabulous outer Great Barrier Reef, then take a scenic chopper flight. A range of reef and rainforest packages are available. Book at doittour.com/TTW. In South Australia, save 10% on a Southern Ocean wildlife encounter with Australian Wildlife Adventures. This extraordinary 3-day tour puts you up close to some incredible marine life. A range of tours exploring the Eyre Peninsula and the Great Australian Bight are available. Book at doittour.com/TTW. Next stop, Philadelphia, just a 90-minute drive from New York. And as the nation's one-time capital, Philly has played a key role in the history of the United States.
All right, now, beautiful Philadelphia is the second largest city on the US eastern seaboard after New York. It's a little bit like New York in some ways, although a little easier to get around, and it is packed with historic sites to explore, not the least of which is Independence Hall. Now, this is the site where the original 13 states gathered together to sign the Declaration of Independence from the nasty British, penned by Thomas Jefferson. It was signed on the 4th of July, 1776. And of course today, Independence Day is celebrated every 4th of July.
Lunchtime and I'm feeling peckish.
Now, we're not in Philadelphia for long, but we're here long enough to try the local specialty, or should that be local obsession? I'm talking about the famous Philly cheese steak. Now that's beef, onions, melted cheese on a bun. Sounds simple enough, but go online, Google it, and you will find numerous sites dedicated to rating the best Philly cheesesteaks in town. Things like drip factor, I'm not quite sure what that refers to, but it sounds interesting. All right, I'm gonna give it a try right now. Oh, that looks amazing, thank you. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. I'm giving this one a 10.
On the road again, and we travel through Lancaster County, home to the second largest Amish community in the USA.
All right, now I'm going to admit that I don't know a whole lot about Amish culture, apart from the film Witness, starring Harrison Ford and Kelly McGillis, but that was 30 years ago, so quite some time. So it's a great opportunity on the tour to come here to Pennsylvania Dutch country to learn more. Now, from the bright lights of New York to no lights, here, of course, in Amish culture, electricity is forbidden, along with motorised transport, so they still use horse and cart, and even buttons are considered a little risque. Anyway, we've been invited to take a look around and learn more.
These Anabaptists came to the New World from Europe to escape persecution, and today the community continues to practice a traditional lifestyle. Now, we can't talk to a member of the community on camera. Photos and video are forbidden, but we can show you round a typical Amish farm. And I have to say, it looks like a pretty idyllic lifestyle. No computers, no TV, no mobile phones, although some concessions are made for running a business. For me, the nation's capital, Washington DC, is one of the biggest surprises on this tour. It's such a beautiful place, with its regal monuments and museums. We have a 2-night stay here, so there's plenty of time to get to know the city a little better. Our guided tour includes the Lincoln Memorial and the haunting Vietnam and Korean War memorials. We happen to be there Memorial Day weekend, with many veterans in town to mark the occasion. It's a short drive across the Potomac River to Arlington Cemetery, one of America's most revered historic sites, and the final resting place of more than 300,000 service personnel from every US conflict since the American Revolution.
Arlington Cemetery was something we were really keen to see, and the atmosphere was just, we thought it was great. Even though it was hot and humid, to stand in front of the JFK or the Kennedy graves was really something. We were aware there was a funeral occurring at the time we were there. We could hear the drums in the background, and I think that just enhanced the mood. It was something that we'll never forget.
Now here's your chance to win an amazing Aussie escape for 2 people in beautiful Broome from Tour the World and Sunwild Holidays. This prize includes return airfares from your nearest capital city, 5 nights at the fabulous Cable Beach Club Resort and Spa in a Garden View studio, a full breakfast daily and airport transfers, a stylish set of the new super strong but extra light Juno luggage from Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage, a selection of Go Travel products to help you get the most from your travel experience, and a men's holiday wardrobe to the value of $500 from our good friends at Uberman, New Brisbane store, now open. To enter, just tell us in 25 words or less why you need an Aussie escape with Tour the World. To enter, visit tourtheworld.com.au.
We're going to pick things up with the arrival of the British here at Jamestown in the early 1600s and the establishment of the first permanent settlement in the New World. Now, it's got to be said, it was a bit of an inauspicious start for today's world superpower that nearly ended in disaster. And we're going to find out why. The Jamestown settlement is the start of our history lesson on this tour, and we spend a fascinating couple of hours here with our local guide.
In 1607, when those Englishmen arrived here on those 3 ships, the Susan Constant, Discovery, and the Godspeed, the Indians are already here. These are the Powhatan Indians, and they have a highly sophisticated structure, living structure. They are happy here. They don't have any metal here, so their tools are basically fire, rope, and shells. When those Englishmen arrive here, there's 104 of them that arrive. They arrive in May. It has taken them 144 days to get here. By December, only 45 of them are left. It's a hard life for these Englishmen when they first come here. They've got to build this fort. First of all, the Indians don't want them here. And they think maybe they're just going to trade with them, you know, and maybe they'll go away, but they don't go away. So one of the things they're going to do within those first 2 years is try to starve them out. John Smith has come over here with them, and people are wanting to leave. He's had to institute martial law, so everybody has to be a soldier. Everybody has to be accounted for. You know, it's a hardship, it really is. There's not a lot of food here, and so they're rationed with their food.
How close did they come to giving up and leaving?
They come very close to giving up and leaving. And the only thing that really saves them is another group comes to reinforce them. This happens several times.
Now, you're going to hear a lot about the founding fathers during this trip. Names like Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and of course, George Washington, the general who led the Americans to victory in the Revolutionary War against the British and later became the Republic's first president. And it is possible to get to know George Washington pretty well during this trip, thanks to the good work of the charming Mount Vernon Ladies Association here at the home of George Washington, Mount Vernon.
George Washington and his wife Martha lived here at Mount Vernon for 40 years, from the time of their marriage in 1759 until the death of the first president in 1799. Today it's a fascinating insight into 18th century life. Tour the main house, outbuildings and grounds. The gardens are absolutely stunning, as are the views of the Potomac River.
Now, one of the great ironies about the Founding Fathers, if you like, was the fact that they all owned slaves. And while it's documented that privately they condemned the practice, the reality was that slavery was fundamental to the economy here in Virginia and the rest of the colonies. And it's the issue that ultimately resulted in the Civil War.
More on that shortly. And next stop in our Tour the World time machine, colonial Williamsburg. Williamsburg was the state capital of Virginia in the early to mid-1700s, a time when the colonies were becoming increasingly testy with British rule. Now, one of the most interesting things about colonial Williamsburg, and there are lots of interesting things, is that you're not too sure where the town ends and the historic creation begins. This is a living, breathing, working 18th century town. Cars give way to horse and carts. There are townsfolk in period dress living in these 18th century homes. And as it turns out, those townsfolk are more than a little peeved at the British governor, am I right?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, well, let's go find out why. There's a commotion brewing on the common. The British governor appears to have stolen the town's supply of gunpowder. An elder statesman manages to quell the revolution, for now. But before long, the Revolutionary War will begin, signalling the end of British rule in the New World. Now, there are lots and lots and lots of things to do here at Colonial Williamsburg, but for me, it's all about priorities, and that includes trying some 18th century chocolate. Yum. Now, it didn't come in a bar, it came as a liquid, and because sugar was so outrageously expensive, it was flavoured with other things like nutmeg, cinnamon, even a little dash of cayenne pepper. Oh yeah. See, as I say, it's all about priorities. Conflict marred much of the New Republic's early history, and none was more devastating than the Civil War, including the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. We visit the Gettysburg National Military Park Museum to learn more. The Civil War saw the North and South take up arms against each other, resulting in horrific casualties as high as 2% of the entire population. Today, the peaceful town of Gettysburg is remembered as the site of the bloodiest battles of the war, but also for Abraham Lincoln's historic Gettysburg Address.
I actually read a book on the Gettysburg battle before I came over. I wanted to learn a little bit about the American Civil War before we actually got there. Best thing I ever did, because actually taking the trip through Gettysburg, both the bus trip and walking some of those fields, gave me a bit of a perspective, and but it was really good to sort of read something and then put the picture together.
In many cases, they were fathers and sons, brothers, cousins, and everything else who had, differing perspective about what the Civil War was all about. So they were fighting each other, and they've had more killed in that war than nearly all their other wars put together.
Now, here at Tour the World, we love our luggage, and we're thrilled to introduce you to the new Titania range from Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage. Perfect for those looking for something a little rugged with a softer side. At just 3.5 kilos for a large roller case and 2.6 kilos for a cabin roller case, Titania gives you all the convenience of a four-wheel case with the added flexibility of a casual bag. With 360-degree rotating wheels, tough hybrid design, and large front pockets for additional storage. The Titania range is now available at all leading luggage retailers. Happy packing from Antler and Tour the World. Now some more amazing special offers on Aussie day tours from Tour the World. In Victoria, save 20% on a boutique wine tour of the gorgeous Macedon Ranges with Mike's Wine Tours, offering small group tours, personal service and expert knowledge. Includes a delicious restaurant lunch and tastings at some of the region's best wineries. To book, call Mike's Wine Tours and mention Tour the World. In southeast Queensland, save $40 per couple on Brisbane's closest hot air balloon ride with floating images. Just 30 minutes drive west of the CBD. A magical 1-hour city and country balloon flight, including a restaurant breakfast and flight certificate. To book, go online and enter promo code TTW0814 or call Floating Images and mention Tour the World. For more details on these special offers, visit tourtheworld.com.au. Now, you and I have grown up listening to John Denver's Country Roads, and it's all about the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains here in Virginia. And we're lucky enough to be spending a night in those mountains at the Shenandoah National Park. Now, this is renowned as being one of the most beautiful spots in the whole of the United States. And it's all about mountain mamas, moonshine, and magic. Take me home, Country Roads. Our visit to the beautiful Shenandoah National Park is a chance to unwind after the hustle and big city bustle of our first few days on this trip. It's such a magnificent place. We enjoy a guided drive through the park, established in 1935. Then it's time to settle into the rustic surrounds of the Skyland Resort with its absolutely sensational views. I could quite easily wake up to that view every morning. The afternoon drifts away and it's time for a group dinner and the chance to get to know my fellow travellers a little better. And as the sun sets over the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, we say farewell until part 2 next week. Now, if you think this tour ticks all the boxes on your holiday checklist, then call Evergreen Tours or go online to evergreentours.com. For more episodes of Tour the World, visit our website or track us down on Facebook. Wow, that is just the beginning of this amazing adventure. Now, next week we head into the deep south, including Charleston, Savannah, the home of country music, Nashville, not to mention amazing New Orleans. Don't miss it. Special thanks, of course, this week to Evergreen Tours, and we look forward to seeing you tour the world again with us next week. See you then.